I met Tim Courtney at what I feel is a very pivotal point in my life. I happened upon his business card in a coffee shop, and although I wasn't conscious that I was reaching out for some guidance, I found myself standing there staring at his card tacked to a bulletin board. And as I zeroed in on his name and face and number, I realized that the timing was great. There was a reason I was standing there, and that I did have a lot of questions in my mind about all the crossroads that I was experiencing in relationships and career, and that I really did feel the need to reach out to somebody, and I saw his card right in front of my eyes. I called Tim and we met a couple of days later. In relationships, I was actually leaning toward making some very bad decisions that I had kind of rationalized in my mind to be a little more self-serving and selfish than I normally am. And although I didn't mention it to Tim, and I really didn't want to hear any solution in that area, he very quickly brought it up when I first met with him. And the same thing happened with my career. I'm at a crossroads with my career, and I had a feeling that some changes were going to be taking place, but I didn't have any real direction. And Tim really brought in some ideas about how to just be more open, and some of the locations that I might be looking for in the future. What I've noticed about our meeting and the information he gave me is that it was all very accurate and timely, and although he said some of this information didn't make a lot of sense to him, it really made a lot of sense to me. And Tim didn't just tell me the things that I wanted to hear. Tim was very open with me that, perhaps he didn't really want to share some of the things that I needed to hear, and that he felt that I was open enough to hear him, and that's been true. Then there were some more simple things that the second time we met, and I had followed through and made some changes, particularly to the relationship and the career direction. Some very simple things came up in our second meeting about my vision, my eyes. Particularly, it had been 5 years since I had had an eye appointment, and I wasn't very conscious of how much time had gone by until he asked me. And I just wasn't taking care of that, and I wasn't even aware that I wasn't. There was another simple thing about my house, an issue with my roof, and something I just had procrastinated on until the point of insanity, actually. And it came up in the first reading, but it wasn't as clear for me what the information was about. And in the second reading, Tim just spelled it out and said, "Look, is there a problem with your roof?" And I said, "Yes." So, the practical application of some of the information is so obvious that I think I try to get a little more complex. And, I'm not a skeptic, and I'm not somebody who shies away from psychics, but I am somebody that I try to get as much information on my own through meditation and through my own self-awareness. And that being said, I couldn't have come to the information that Tim has provided me. And I know that as much as I can help other people, I'm not as good at helping myself sometimes. And it's been very, very beneficial to me to have somebody I can rely on for that information that has the kind of spiritual direction and openness to what the spiritual significance to some things might be, not just the obvious human correlation. And I feel that I was really connected to Tim before I even met him, and that on some plane I was driven to his card and driven to make contact with him from within my own being. And it's been hugely beneficial for that as well, to have another fellow on the path that I can confide in, and to feel that I can offer something back to him by doing this, and to show my support for how much he has helped me and in the direction he's given me. I know that some people would be very skeptical. I've talked to people about my information with Tim and how skeptical some people are that it could be coincidental. And I know in my heart that there are no coincidences. And this information he could not have known by me walking in the door if he hadn't have had contact with my own spirit guides, who, although they've probably been reaching out to me on my own, were unable to get through to me. And to have them to be able to speak to somebody objective, and then to get the information across to him, and him to be able to relay it to me very clearly, means a lot to me. And I think it'll make a huge impact in the future with what I'm putting in place today. So I'm very grateful for meeting Tim, and I think that his help would be very beneficial to those who might be seeing this. There's a reason you're here. There's a reason you're listening to me. And your guides are probably reaching out to Tim to reach you.